Robert Mueller's investigation found 10 possible acts of obstruction of justice. Let us examine what Mueller discovered in his own words as laid down by the report. Act 2. President Trump said he fired FBI Director Comey because of the Russia investigation.
May 3, 2017, in the afternoon following Comey's testimony before Congress, the President met with McGahn, Jeff Sessions, and Sessions' Chief of Staff, Jody Hunt.
This is terrible, Jeff. It's all because you recused. Attorney General is supposed to be the most important appointment. Kennedy appointed his brother. Obama appointed Holder. I appointed you, and you recused yourself. You left me on an island. I can't do anything. The president said that the recusal was unfair and that it was interfering with his ability to govern and undermining his authority with foreign leaders.
Sessions responded that he had no choice but to recuse, and it was mandatory rather than discretionary decision.
Steve Bannon recalled that the president brought Comey up with him at least 8 times on May 3rd and May 4th. The president said the same thing each time.
He told me 3 times, I'm not under investigation. He's a showboater. He's a grandstander. I don't know any Russians. There was no collusion.
Bannon told the president he could not fire Comey because that ship had sailed. He also told the president that firing Comey was not going to stop the investigation, cautioning him that he could fire the FBI director, but could not fire the FBI.
At a dinner on Friday, May 5, attended by the President and various advisors and family members, including Jared Kushner and senior advisor Stephen Miller, the President stated that he wanted to remove Comey and had ideas for a letter that would be used to make the announcement. The President dictated arguments and specific language for the letter, and Miller took notes. As reflected in the notes, the President told Miller that the letter should start,
"While I greatly appreciate you informing me that I am not under investigation concerning what I have often stated is a fabricated story on a Trump-Russia relationship pertaining to the 2016 presidential election, please be informed that I, and I believe the American public, including D's and R's, have lost faith in you as director of the FBI."
Following the dinner, Miller prepared a termination letter based on those notes and research he conducted to support the President's arguments. On May 9, Jody Hunt, Chief of Staff for the Attorney General, delivered to the White House a letter from Sessions recommending Comey's removal and a memorandum from Rod Rosenstein, Deputy Attorney General, titled
Restoring Public Confidence in the FBI.
McGahn recalled that the President liked the Department of Justice letters and agreed that they should provide the foundation for a new cover letter from the President, accepting the recommendation to terminate Comey.
Notes taken by Annie Donaldson, White House lawyer, reflected the view of the White House counsel's office that the President's original termination letter
should not see the light of day, and that it would be better to offer no other rationales for the firing than what was in Rosenstein's and Sessions' memoranda.
Donaldson also wrote,
"Is this the beginning of the end?" Because she was worried that the decision to terminate Comey and the manner in which it was carried out would be the end of the presidency.
That night, the White House press office called the Department of Justice and said the White House wanted to put out a statement saying that it was Rosenstein's idea to fire Comey.
Rosenstein told other Department of Justice officials that he would not participate in the putting out a false story.
The President then called Rosenstein directly and said he was watching Fox News, that the coverage had been great, and that he wanted Rosenstein to do a press conference.
Rosenstein responded that this was not a good idea because if the press asked him, he would tell the truth that the Comey firing was not his idea.
May 9, 2017, the President called Chris Christie and said he was getting killed in the press over Comey's termination. The President asked what he should do.
Did you fire Comey because of what Rod wrote in the memo?
Yes.
Get Rod out there, have him defend the decision.
The president told Christie that this was a good idea and said he was going to call Rosenstein right away.
In the morning on May 10, 2017, President Trump met with Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak in the Oval Office. The media subsequently reported that during the May 10 meeting, the president brought up his decision the prior day to terminate Comey, telling Lavrov and Kislyak,
I just fired the head of the FBI. He was crazy, a real nut job. I faced great pressure because of Russia. That's taken off. I'm not under investigation.
The White House did not dispute the account, instead issuing a statement that said, by grandstanding and politicizing the investigation into Russia's actions, James Comey created unnecessary pressure on our ability to engage and negotiate with Russia. The investigation would have always continued, and obviously the termination of Comey would not have ended it. Once again, the real story is that our national security has been undermined by the leaking of private and highly classified information.
In the afternoon of May 10, 2017, Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Sanders spoke to the president about his decision to fire Comey and then spoke to reporters in a televised news conference. Sanders told reporters that the president, the Department of Justice, and bipartisan members of Congress had lost confidence in Comey. And, most importantly, the rank and file of the FBI had lost confidence in their director. Accordingly, the president accepted the recommendation of his Deputy Attorney General to remove James Comey from his position. In response to questions from reporters, Sanders said that Rosenstein decided on his own to review Comey's performance, and that Rosenstein decided on his own to come to the president on Monday, May 8th, to express his concerns about Comey.
Just a little side note on Press Secretary Sarah Sanders.
A year later, Sanders told this special counsel's office that her reference to hearing from countless members of the FBI was a
slip of the tongue.
Yep. She also recalled that her statement in a separate press interview that rank and file FBI agents had lost confidence in Comey was a comment she made
in the heat of the moment. That was not founded on anything.
Back to our story.
May 11, 2017, the president participated in an interview with Lester Holt.
I was going to fire Comey, regardless of recommendation. Rosenstein made a recommendation, but regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey, knowing there was no good time to do it. And in fact, when I decided to do it, I said to myself, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. It's an excuse by the Democrats for having lost an election that they should have won.